Hello, welcome to this servicing video. 1.6 FSI VW Golf, very good car. This one has done over 100,000 miles, but it is a very good car. So we're doing a general servicing. We are changing the oil filter, um, air filter and pollen filter. We're not changing the fuel filter on this service. So as you can see, I've already removed the oil filter and drained the oil from the sump. And yeah, this is where I am at the moment. So went ahead and quickly changed the filter, oil filter. It's a brand new filter. Yeah, just showing you, if you want to do it yourself, it's possible to do it yourself. Just make sure the parts you're using are like for like. As you can see, this one, just measure it, eyeball it, and then compare it, put them side by side, make sure that you're using the right part. Even though it's easy to put the vehicle reg in there and for it to give you the right sort of parts. It is also a very good idea to check, make sure the heights are the same so that you don't have any kind of problem afterwards. So the new air filter comes with its own rubber seal, so you can remove it and make sure you put the new seal on in order to have 100% seal, because the last thing you want is oil leaking from somewhere. So you can put a seal on either way. It stretches, and so you can put a easy route to put it is from the top, which is what I've just done. Some people will put oil in the filter in order to introduce the oil. It makes sense and it's actually a good practice, but it's not a necessary practice, because once you start the engine, if you don't rev the engine and you just start it, the oil will pump its way up there. It's very important to hand tighten it. Do not use a wrench to tighten the oil filter. It's good to use your hand to make sure that it's sat around the seal oil, the rubber seal. That is very important. I usually will tighten it till I cannot hand tighten it again, and then I use the wrench, the spanner, to just make sure that it's tight. It's also very good practice to use torque wrench to know the specific torque. If you're new, it will be rather good to be safe than sorry. But with experience, you would sort of know when it's enough to tighten, to not go beyond. Don't over tighten it and don't under tighten it, because if you under tighten it, it's possible the oil will drip from the seal, and if you overdo it, you might snap something that's even more expensive. So just put a dipstick in and then go ahead and clean the area, and then use this sump plug, which is in this case it was a 19 screw bolt. And also I like to hand tighten it in order to make sure that thread, the thread has gone in the right way, and what you don't want is to shred the thread. And when you use um, impact, it's possible to cause such damage. So I like to hand tighten and then um, use a manual wrench to do it rather than use an impact. So there are some few places where you can use the impact to help you to get them out as quick as possible, but not on this case. I clean the area of any oil, recheck, make sure it's strong. And now that I have been able to secure and clean the area properly so that I will be able to check after the work and make sure that no oil is leaking from anywhere. Then come up again and finish the oil part of the service, top up the oil. And this one says it takes 3.5 liters, and therefore I put 3 liters in. Mind you, the car is a little bit elevated and therefore it's not flat, so put 3 liters in there, check, make sure that it is not over, and then when I put the car down I will check again. So that's the oil done. Now the spark plugs. The spark plugs are very hidden, so you have to get through the coil pack, ignition coils, in order to get to the spark plugs. So there you go, me pulling out the ignition coils. It's just like a suction and it clicks in, so you just have to pull it gently and not break anything. Take care not to break anything. Pull it out gently and then sort of pry open the plastic housing that the cables go through, making sure not to mix it when they are going back. But it is very difficult to, you'll have to try harder to mix where the ignition coils go. The reason why I'm saying that is the cables are sort of short, so you will be able to know that this cable want to go there and then just put it there. If you put the wrong one in the wrong hole, you will know because it will not conform as it should. Some of them are stubborn to come out. You just have to be gentle and patient and pop them out. I'm not changing the ignition coils. If I was, it means I can also remove them from the wiring at the back of it, but I'm not doing that. So I just need enough space to pull the cables and the coils away in order to get to the um, get to the spark plugs. Once I've got enough space, that's all I need. And just showing you that you cannot get it wrong unless you try to get it wrong. You cannot get it wrong. Also pointing out that whilst it's out, you'll have to check the ignition coils for any soiling. Maybe oil is up there, and then you just have to check and make sure that there is no sort of liquid coming out there. I know the car is not misfiring, so I have no issue with that. So as usual, I couldn't find my plug socket, so I had to go and get a new socket set. And to be honest, to be fair, I needed the deep sockets, so I've got that, and that's why you see me using the magnets. Normally the plug socket has got something there that grips the plugs, but this one hasn't. So it's easy enough to use the magnet to do it. So they're out and I compare them. It looks like a different kind of brand, and make, but they all do the same thing anyway. So it really doesn't matter that much so long as the numbers are the same. It doesn't matter. So as you remove the plugs, you also inspect. I like to go one at a time, one plug at a time. And they are fairly dirty, but there was no wet one or there was no issue. Plugs, they are always sparking, so obviously you have carbon is used. So you have carbon formed around it. And yeah, literally went round one at a time, pick them up and replace them as I go. I chose to do it one at a time. I could have chosen to do all of them, take all of them out, and then, it really doesn't matter so long as you are checking to make sure that all of them have got like dry tips and there is no oil coming out. If you see oil there, then there is a concern and there is something that you need to investigate why the oil is coming at the tip. The tip of that should be dry. So that's it done. Air filter now. Air filter is kind of easy to change. Soon as you open the engine cover itself, if you turn it over at the top right corner is the air filter housing, and that has 6 screws, Phillips screws. You just undo the screws. Again, I could have used a power tool to make it faster, but there was no need for that. I want to show you that you can do it without any power tool or anything. You can do it with basic tools. So far, I've using basic tools throughout. 19 um, 19 socket to remove and fix the um, oil sump, and then I use the adjustable wrench to remove the oil filter, and then I used 16 deep sockets to remove the plugs. Use the screwdriver to ply the ignition coils out, and I'm using a Phillips. So as you can see on the screen, that's the air filter, and it's quite used. It's got some parts missing, and that's why it is important for you to sort of change it often. Got the new one, just have to measure or compare the two to make sure they are of the same size. They don't have to be of the same color, but the same size, the same shape. And you can see clearly that the old one is pretty much old and dirty. And this is the reason why it's important to change it often, because this is the ventilation of the engine. The engine breathes through here. And if it's dirty, then the engine will be breathing dirt into itself, or worse still, there won't be enough air going through to feed the engine as it should be. So it's very important to make sure that it's cleaned properly. It's very easy, just line them up properly and then screw the screws in, right? Put the screws back in and tighten it up, and that will be the air filter done. It's pretty straightforward. The whole thing took me about 2 hours, I would say. So if you go to a mechanic, he will charge you probably 2 to 3 hours to do the whole servicing. So yeah, it took about 2 hours, I would say, barring the fact that I am doing it from outside, so external influence. One of the parts that is very much forgotten about is the polling filter or the cabin filter. This is a very important filter. It's literally for your health, really. And it also protects some parts of the vehicle. So it is housed right underneath the glove compartment. Yes, it's storage near the driver. It's right under there. It's got two plastic screws that you have to gently pull out or unscrew out. They are very fragile, so be careful and gentle not to break them. It's a flathead screwdriver, and you just have to try to pull them out. As you can see, it says you can use a small screwdriver to pull it out, and please don't break it. Be gentle not to break it. This video is for someone who wants to do it by themselves. So yes, I'm showing it to you who want to do it by yourself. It's very much doable. I won't say it's easy, it's doable. It's got this insulator kind of cover that goes on top of it. So it's pretty much straightforward. Once you pull that out, you will see the housing there, and it's literally there. You just have to pull it out. You can see me pulling out in a minute, and just pry it out gently, you know, gently pry it out, and it will just pry out like that. And then you just have to change the filter for filter. So I took the front off, or the front came first, and then the filter itself, and you can see it's very dirty. It's done its job by filtering the air that's coming in. So you can imagine all this air. If the filter is not there, the air will be coming straight into your lungs, and it's something you wouldn't like. As you can see, some very, very bad debris, and this is very important to be changed very, very regularly, at least once a year, or between 12,000 and 15,000, 10,000 and 15,000 miles. You should be able to change all these filters, because it's literally the breathing ventilation of the vehicle. So it's very important to change all of that. So yeah, putting it back is the opposite of bringing it out. So you just have to make sure you align it properly, and it goes back in just like that. It is very doable if you're patient and you don't mind getting a little bit dirty. Then it's something that you can follow. What I would say is, when you're doing any DIY job, be sure to adhere to all safety measures, like making sure the vehicle is well supported and that you are secured and safe in whatever step you take. So there we go, and just make sure you put back the screws, gently screw with your hand, and then just finish the screwing with the flathead. This is the next day since I serviced this vehicle, and as I said, I need to top up these two fluids, and check the brake fluid, make sure that we've got enough brake fluid in there. But just a quick recap: we've changed the oil filter, which is here, the air filter, which is, once you pop this open, is behind there at that point there. Then we change the spark plugs, which is behind the coils in this section once you pop this casing up. Then we've gone around to change the pollen filter, or the cabin filter, which is usually under there. can't focus with the sun. It's under there somewhere. So we'll change all these things. I have checked the oil and I've driven it about roughly about 6-7 miles round, and when I came back I checked it and the oil was slightly down, so I topped it up again. So we will check the oil filter once more, the oil once more to see where it is at. I'm going to try to do this with one hand. To check the oil, you pop this one open. It's sat down for a while, so I can see from there. I don't know if you can see what's going on there, but I'm going to wipe this anyway. I'm going to wipe it off. Wipe this off and then recheck again. So everything is wiped off. I'm gonna recheck again to make sure that just pop it in like that, and then pull it back up, and the oil is at the right place. I can see this is the right place. If I may show you, let me put it down. Okay, so the oil level is right there, which means there is enough oil, not too much. I'm gonna move the car once I start it so that I will be able to see if there is any mark on the floor. The other option is to put it back on the ramp and go under there, but it's not necessary because the oil hasn't gone down. So should we start it together and see how it responds? Let's do this. So pretty much done good mileage, but once you look after your car, it really doesn't matter. So the spanner sign is on, which means it needs servicing, but I've just done the servicing, so I'll reset it after that. So let's start it and see. So this is a chain driven belt. Hence, when it starts, you will hear that rattle. But as you can see, as you can hear, it has almost settled immediately, and the engine sounds good to me. This is a cold start. I've just started it this morning, so it's not like it's warmed up already. So the engine sounds good to me, and that's what you want. There's no oil leakage from the bottom or anything. And the car is breathing well because all the filters in the car have been changed with the exception of the fuel filter. The reason why I didn't do the fuel filter is because they didn't have it at the dealership, and I wouldn't order just the fuel filter. So it's definitely scheduled for the next servicing. I will do the fuel filter as well. But sounds good to me. Let me know what you think. These are the basic service that need to be done. Even if you buy a home used car or slightly used car, it's advised that you do this service, so at least it gives you a little bit of, a little bit of respite before you go ahead and start enjoying your car. Next stage is the inside treatment, cleaning, and that's another video. Detailing law. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.